Shalom, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you for coming in, and we're just gonna get right into it.
Equality of sexes, everyone should want to have the.
If you're a woman, you should be a feminist.
I think the concept of anti-feminism is like counterintuitive as a woman. Like everyone should want equality of sexes, everyone should want to have the same education level, the same all these things in a position and still make as much as a person who identifies as male.
In this society, we have to be feminists as women because there's certain things going on where our rights are being stripped away, and Black women, Black trans women are more likely to.
So, I'm just gonna make it real clear. Everything that I speak on in this video, I'm only speaking from the understanding that there are the two genders, right? Man and woman. And so, feminism has always been a very confusing concept to me because men and women can't be equal. We just can't. We're two different beings. Yes, we're both human, but because of our anatomy, because of the way we process our emotions, the way we process information logically, the way that our bodies work and look, there's no way that we can be equal. And so I've always thought that the battle of feminism was a losing one, because even though they're fighting for feminism, who do they have to go to in order to get the feminist agenda that they're looking for approved? It would be a man. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what would be the point to continue to fight this fight? Is it based upon delusion to think that you can even be equal to a man? That's where my ideology leads toward. That is very, very delusional.
To be murdered and attacked, and
also, this always goes back to this case study that was done by this woman who pretended to be a man for over a year and ended up unaliving herself because of how hard it was to be a man. Like, it's much more difficult than the everyday woman understands. Men experience many challenges. Many men are alone. Their suicide rate is higher than women. Like, it's much more difficult, I would say, in my opinion, to be a man than it is to be a woman. Women have the capacity and capability to get and do anything that they want to do just because they're women. Like, there's nothing disparaging a woman from being who she wants to be, talking how she wants to talk. Like, a man has to be careful wherever he goes. He's always seen as a predator, or as a assailant, or somebody who could do something to hurt somebody. He has to be careful with his words. He can't be too aggressive. Whereas women can go and act however they want anywhere. And it's just to say that we're under some type of more danger or scrutiny or oppression than the man is very, very delusional. It's not based in any kind of reality, because when you look at everyday life, you can clearly see that men are the ones who have to carry themselves in a more cautious manner than women do.
that's absolutely a feminist issue, and that's something that everyone should care about.
Everyone of any gender expression, men included, should be feminists.
I think there are different brands of feminism, if you will, that don't.
Hey, yo, why? Oh, I'm sorry. But why is there always a green-haired feminist? Why is her hair always green or purple? I'm just wondering.
True ideal of what feminism
Absolutely.
is.
And I don't think that everyone has to be active as a feminist in the exact same way. Like, not everybody can march, not everybody can protest, not everybody can really be an advocate for feminism.
At the end of the day, it's taking a look at patriarchal systems and seeing the flaws in those systems and how they negatively impact everyone.
I pause on that thought. Can the disagreeers step forward?
Define woman. Go, please. One of you.
A person who their internal idea of what they are is.
Hey, that girl who just came in, she remind me of my old self. She said, "Define a woman," because she already know what kind of people these are. Feminists are. They're very delusional people. Women are women, but she finna describe a woman as a person who thinks that they're a woman. Okay, I think I'm a goat. What that mean?
A woman.
Terrible definition. Coming from a lesbian, that destroys the very concept of our sexual orientation. Just saying that it's an idea.
Why?
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 Because you can't be connected and sexually attracted to somebody's brain.
Let's make sure to keep it to the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist. Why do y'all disagree with that?
Okay.
I completely disagree. You know, exactly 2 years ago, if I had done this, I probably would be a feminist. But then I started to look at, and I think the agreeers actually mentioned is, like, what do Black women gain from feminism? Because I remember even during Black Lives Matter, when I led 2 protests for Black women, and I counted how many white women I saw there, and the ones who were there who were just there to take pictures for social media, and then the Black men also hiding behind us. Everyone, the whole world hides behind Black women. Enough.
Same thing that's happening. Look what's happening in Iran. People on the
That's very true. And I believe that that's how Black women ended up in the feminist movement to begin with, because they saw how they could use the Black woman in order to get their initiative going even more so. Because the Black woman actually is oppressed. She's not more oppressed than her man, the Black man, but she is more oppressed than the white woman. So to use the Black woman's oppression and try to take it as their own is definitely something that they did in the feminist movement. And this is another reason why I do not agree with feminism. They always using Black women and the oppression that we face as the face of feminism, and we face oppression for completely different reasons that have nothing to do with the sole fact that we're women, but more so with the fact that we're Black. So
feminist side right now are not speaking up for those Iranian women. I have a friend that is trans woman living in Iran right now. It's miserable. Nobody stands up for that poor girl.
As a woman, I particularly think I'm a humanist. For example, 2 years ago, I was a raging feminist, and I made a decision to pivot my platform, teach Black women how to sit in our feminine energy, because we've never experienced that.
Well, that just sounds like Black feminism to me, teaching women how to do that in the time that we are in now.
But we're not learning fast enough. We deserve to rest, we deserve to relax, we deserve to choose if we want to be a traditional wife. I went from law to being a CEO to now I just want to be a housewife. And every time I say that, I get so much hate. Like, women work so hard to get to this point. Why do you want to be a housewife? Because
that's what you
my
want.
choice.
And my thing too, like, this is another thing I just don't understand, because honestly, when you think about yourself as a woman, when you really living in your feminine energy, what you're doing at a job, how you respect and are obedient to your boss, is the same way that you can do that with a husband. Like, it's the same way that you can do that with a spouse. So it's kind of like you're doing all of this to be equal to a man, when really that's not even what is truly fulfilling for a woman. And sure, right now on this panel, maybe these women cannot see that because of the age that they are at right now. These all look like fairly young women, maybe late 20s, 30s. And so right now they haven't hit that wall, and they're not really able to tell that what they're doing is leading them to a path of being alone. But that's all feminism can do. It's going to create this delusional mindset that places you outside of reality. And when you wake up from the fog, the mental fog that it has you in, you're going to see that it benefits you not.
That's what you want. That's the whole point.
Feminism is all about choice.
Exactly. Why can't I choose? That's the whole point of feminism. It's like, why can I choose? What are you missing in America to claim that you are oppressed as a woman?
Well, we just had our rights to our own uteruses stripped away.
Right to your own uterus. Like, so that's oppression, because they said that you can't murder babies anymore. Like, so now you're oppressed because they took that word away from you, because you can't unalive babies anymore. So now you're oppressed. Like, this is feminism, y'all. This is what feminism stands for. This is their pivotal points right here.
To murder your own baby, though, I mean,
It's
let's
not
be
a
real.
baby, it's a clump of cells.
I mean, we all are clump of cells right here.
I think everybody's going to agree and disagree.
Yeah,
on
that's
that,
a whole.
but I don't know if that's another topic. That's another topic.
I had a very, very
You know, it's really a shame that people look at babies as clumps of cells when, like that girl said, we're all clumps of cells. Like, at one point, we were all clumps of cells. So it's kind of like, what if your mother thought of you like that? I just, the delusion, sometimes I just can't even.
hard time not stepping up to that prompt because my whole life I did consider myself a feminist. Seeing how this modern wave of feminism has now turned into something very different than equal rights. We all want equal, of course, we want equal rights. We want equality as women, of course.
But
we
how can you
are
have equal rights when you can't define the word woman on the far left?
Alta had a Women's Day recently, and the Women's Day was celebrated by 2 trans women who still had their male parts. I mean, you're pushing women out of womanhood.
I'm sure we're going to have discussions about whether or not a trans woman is a woman, but I actually want to go back.
Trans woman is not a woman. So, I don't know what else we can talk about with that.
There's no wrong reason to get an abortion.
Oh, I'm not even touching that subject. I'm not even touching that. We're not going there because as somebody who, and I'll just give my experience on it real quick, and if you all want to see this full video, then you can go to Jubilee's channel. But when it comes to abortion, as somebody who has been on both sides, I had the thought that it is your right, and you do have the ability to control your body and control what's going on in your life. And then, so I have had abortions. And then on the other side of it, believing that abortion is murder, and I murdered children. That's just the reality of it. Because if I really thought that I had such control over my body, why did I not close my legs? So we're not even going to have this discussion because we're not talking about the little percentage of women who are raped and then they have to get that done. We're talking about the women who go out, open their legs all the time, and then try to take Plan B or abortion in order to fix their problem or control, like, whatever. Because what you should have just done, like what I should have just did, what I should have done was kept my legs closed and really valued my body. Since I didn't do that, I should have had them children, because the consequence of sex is babies. I don't, we delusional as heck to think that it's not, and to think that you can go somewhere and fix it when you put yourself in that situation is one of the biggest problems that I notice with women is they lack accountability. So we're just going to skip right over that one. I'm not,
Feminist movement is inherently racist.
The feminist movement does not benefit POC in any shape or form. It especially does not benefit Black women. And the darker your skin is, the more you are used. I call us Black women as the bullets for the feminist movement.
If we're talking historically, if we're talking how feminist movements started, it was an exclusionary movement.
Absolutely.
If we go back to the suffragettes or even further, Black women were not allowed to join in that effort because they really weren't fighting for Black women.
Until we were used as bullets.
Right.
And they're still not really fighting for Black women. I mean, the feminist movement go harder for trans Black women than they do for actual vagina carrying Black women. So
If we're not being used, we can't be part of the movement.
They did use Black women. They used Black women's efforts because most of the most achievements that feminism, you're right, like most of the achievements of feminism have been done by Black women, and white women have stepped in and taken the credit
Absolutely.
for like people who do identify as feminists, especially those of us who are white. I think the most important thing for us to do is to sit down, shut up, and listen to Black women.
can't say nothing there.
As a Black woman who identifies as a feminist, my work centers Black women.
And you know, every time I see a sister identify as a feminist, and I say sister as like another black woman identify as a feminist, I automatically think, oh, this must be a rebellious woman. This woman probably don't respect men. She probably don't have good relationships with men. She probably don't like hearing out their perspectives or understanding what they go through, and is just concerned about being equal to a man. Because I don't know, like how many black feminist women do y'all know that's married and living a good life where they're happy, not just because they're happy, but their husband is happy as well. Because I just ain't seen it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I just ain't seen it.
Men. So to say that, you know, of course, like white women were able to vote before black women. Like the feminist movement was inherently racist, but how I live my life and the way that the community that I've built around myself of black feminists, we see.
But why label it feminism?
Well,
Why not just
you can
why not
label it
just
whatever you
label it
want, but
helping other black women.
I affirm you, and I
Don't
see
you
that the
think that's like-
semantics makes you uncomfortable because feminism was racist, but you
It
have
is
to,
still racist,
but you're
was.
not racist. So if you are not racist and you have issues that you want to be working towards for black women, that doesn't mean that you're inherently being racist or helping white women. I think feminism exists on a spectrum.
We're talking about semantics, we're talking about terms. They evolve and they change. Ideologies change. Right. And I think that feminism is evolving and changing. And I think it's because of the work of people like you. And so that's why I can confidently say.
It's evolving. It's not evolving. I think it's devolving. You know, I think third wave feminism, I mean, by all accounts, I see, you know, again, have a very powerful black mother, a very feminist black mother. And I would never forget this as she's battling cancer and I'm holding her hand in bed. And she's married to my dad, who's a very passive man. He's a professor, but very passive, and let her took the front. She waited for my dad to leave the room and said, maybe you can find a man to take care of you. And this is I'm sorry. My mom is like, she's like this thing that's bigger than life. She's so big, like untouchable, like, you know, like powerful, and no one could tell her. And just to see her weak, and her only regret now is that she never got to rest and she never met a man to take care of her.
That is always going to be the problem of the feminists because they won't just live in their femininity. Like, why would a man come into a situation with you, right? And you're already taking charge. You're already doing everything. If he's more like, and just because a man is passive doesn't mean that he's not a man. Some men are just not confrontational. So if he sees that you feel the need to constantly lead, he may just let you lead. But if you ever just pause for a moment as a feminist woman and take a step back and be more quiet than he is. Watch this man speak up. Watch this man take charge because he'll feel comfortable enough to be able to do that. It's like we're so busy. Well, I won't say we because I'm not doing this anymore, but I do understand where it comes from, especially when you're raised by mothers who are very independent. You have to learn how to let the man be the man, like when you're in a relationship, because like this young lady, her mother on her deathbed, is the one thing that she regrets the most is that she never had a man to be a man for her, and she never was able to really rest because she was doing both the job of a man and a woman, which a woman cannot do. We be trying to, but we really can't do that successfully.
Even though my dad is incredible in his own way, but she never experienced what it feels like to be a woman. And I refuse to. I would rather die alone than experience a marriage like that.
Feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society.
I mean, I've got a lot to say about this. Feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men are trash. They say they hate men while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for having power and the patriarchy, so they're trying to overtake it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture. But guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man. Women are
need
nurturers.
men.
We need men.
It's that simple.
We need men, period. It's delusional for a woman to go about her life thinking that she doesn't need a man. I don't care what kind of woman you are. I don't care what you feel about whatever you feel about. At the end of the day, men built this world. They built the societies that we live in. They built the governments that you keep going to trying to get these laws changed. They built everything. And when it comes to protection, you're always going to need a man. Like, it just is what it is. I don't know why it would make you feel like less unless you are in that delusional state of mind thinking that you can be equal to a man. But once you get out of that mindset and you understand being a woman has its own respective qualities, then you can just allow the man to be the man, and in him doing so, allow him to be that protector, that provider, that security that he was meant to be. This is what men are meant to do. Women are not meant to protect and provide. What? No, like, it doesn't even make sense.
Simple as that. It's a God-given right for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We need men. It's very simple. We need men to procreate. We need men to provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die. We need men. It's so bad now that they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men and they're like, am I allowed to open the door? Can I not open the door? Can I touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking, they're sweating. And you're just like, be yourself. It's okay. Like, they're so afraid of doing anything wrong. So much so they're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right? Like
I said that men are the most lonely that they've ever been because women are creating a society where men don't feel safe. And it's so crazy because feminism tries to paint this picture that women are oppressed when it's really our men who are suffering from this right now. It's like a man don't know to approach a woman. He don't know if he can say something to her. He don't know. He just don't know. And it's not that he's not a confident man, but this is beginning to probably chip away at their confidence, because if he say anything wrong or do anything wrong or look at her too long, or he can be all over social media, his character being slandered and stuff because he's interested in talking to a woman like he should be. Like, this world is crazy, and the fact that people continue to perpetuate feminism in women is going to continue to create the decline. It's going to continue to create the space between the man and the woman. Like, men are just going to stay home. They're just going to, like, do their best to maybe shoot a DM, because that's probably the safest thing to do these days, rather than walking up to a woman, because you never know these days how a woman is going to react. You can't even tell by the way a woman looks what kind of woman she is anymore. Like, it's really probably very scary out here for men, and I really feel for the man, because men want the same thing that we do. Once we get out of our delusion, we want the same thing they do. We're not meant to be alone. Man needs woman and woman needs man, and it's kind of like delusional to think anything else.
straight white men, I heard, are not the most lonely because they just creating incels. They don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this trend, especially happening in schools right now. There is a trend where they are raising up the girls. Girl power, girl boss, girl this, run like a girl in the best way possible.
You're gonna make me vomit.
That's now it's dangerous. It is dangerous because, yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do so that men and women do maintain equality. But at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much?
Facts. If women were truly equal or were meant to be equal to men, why is it taking so many years to make us equal to the man? How about because we were never supposed to be equal to the man? The position that the woman plays is a very important, imperative position. It is something that can be honored and respected when it's done in its correct way. But when you are a woman thinking that you don't need a man, or thinking that you are a man, then you're never going to get those same results, because you're not even working in your true like you're not even working in the way that you should be working as a woman. Like you're being something that you're not. And whenever you're living a life full of delusion, you're going to get nothing but what do they call it, where you repeat the same cycle over and over again, and you expect different results. That's what your life is going to be the epitome of. Because like I said, men should be men and women should be women. It's insanity. Exactly, it's insanity. So I mean, man, that's a great word. Insanity. Insane delusion.
Why? The only men that feminists like are men dressing as women and dominating their sports and just really reversing what the other waves of feminism fought to do. Have fun with men beating you in your sports, women, because guess what? You're not going to beat them. Have fun. I never even felt unequal, so I don't even know what the problem is. I feel like a lot of people just want to have a reason to be upset and outraged. I also just don't identify with all these identity politics groups. I think they're being pit against each other, separating all these different people by race, class, gender, everything, sexual orientation, and I look at people as individuals.
All right, on that note, let's have the disagreeers.
And the one thing that I noticed about that woman that just got through speaking, she's very level-headed. She already said that I never felt unequal, so that means that she always understood her place as a woman. And I'm not saying that wearing a wedding ring indicates, like, if you don't have one on doesn't mean you're not married. But the one thing that I've noticed is she is the only woman on this panel with a wedding ring. So as you can see, if you're not trying to be alone in life, you have to just work in your femininity and just be a woman and stay in your lane. Because obviously, women who think like the way that she does have results. They have results in how being in reality works.
Step forward.
There's a difference between not appreciating men and pointing out the inequities that have been systemically put in place to favor men, especially white men, white straight men. There's a difference between hating men and pointing out that there are inequities.
I want to talk about this concept of protection. We're talking about good men who are protectors. Who are they protecting us from?
Bad men.
Bad men, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Or bad
so-
women, bad
Right.
anybody.
I could drive a car and
It was a rhetorical. I guess.
No,
in some ways
I
a
understand the point you were trying to
rhetorical
make. That's
question,
why
right?
I said what you wanted.
I can't stand when people ask questions and then they get an answer that they don't like and then try to be like, well, that was a rhetorical question. No, it wasn't. You were asking a question and they gave you an answer. Like, men protect us from bad men and bad women. Like, the fact that people think that there's more bad men than there are bad women, that's the reason why so many bad women get away with things. It's not. If I was to give a number to it, I would dang near say that it's equal. There are lots and lots and lots of bad women, but because people think women can't be as bad, see, where the equality in that? You don't think women can be just as bad as men? It's plenty of them, and we need men to protect us from both of them. So
Going to finish. So then who benefits from men's bad behavior? Good men as well.
she hate men. I'm just gonna say that she really don't like men. Somebody, I don't know if somebody did something to her, what it was that happened to her. If she just let social media mess her mind up from a young age, but she don't like men. That vitriol is real.
Right? They get to be positioned as the good guys.
Good apples.
They're the good apples. And that is predicated on the bad behavior of men.
no, they benefit from being a good person and protecting women. Who cares? We should not be praising people based off comparing them to bad people.
But I don't benefit from being a good girl. I don't get
You're
to-
a good feminist, right? I'm sure people love what you have to say as a feminist. Other feminists agree with it and are like, yes, go girl
There
boss.
are
They
good
do.
people on earth and bad people on earth. We're always going to have that. That would never change. It's in every animal kingdom. So we need the good man to protect us from the bad man.
To go off of what you said, because you said when women are sexually assaulted, they turn to another man to protect them. I work as a sexual assault and domestic violence counselor. I work with rape victims every single day. They don't turn to men to protect them. They don't.
I didn't say they turn to them. I was saying
No,
like
that
they potentially can, if you're walking home alone at night and
I
you're
don't
afraid.
turn to another man. I don't. I turn to other women.
Yeah, I appreciate men that, like, I love a man that knows his place. Build the house. Yeah, repair that. Because I'm a goddess. Like, if you
Whoa, any woman who calls herself a goddess, a queen, any of those things, like, run fast, because how you gonna tell a man to stay in his place, or you like a man who knows his place? Do you know your place? What are you talking about? You want him to like worship the ground you walk on? Why? Who the fell are you? Who are you? And how have you established yourself to be this person? That is crazy. That is so crazy. Like, how do women hear this and not think it's not crazy? Like, I don't get it. That sounds crazy and it's not fair to men. Like, what?
You need to hold your weight in the relationship. Like, I appreciate men. I love men. Like, you know, just like you said, you know, you have a husband, you want to cook for your husband, you make sure that he's good. Men have roles in society as well. Feminist is anything you want it to be. As a woman, I am promiscuous because I'm a feminist, but you can also be conservative because I'm a feminist. Modern day feminism is about you and what you make it, and not what someone 60 years ago said it.
Okay, so to me, feminism these days sounds like an excuse for women to just do whatever it is that comes to them emotionally and mentally. It allows them a facet to be able to be whatever they want to be based upon the delusion that they've created around their life. It allows for them to not truly heal from their trauma and to place blame on men instead of doing the groundwork necessary to completely heal. It sounds like it's just a bunch of excuses and lack of accountability. And that is just my opinion. This has been a very interesting conversation. Um, you know, if you want to check out the full video, it is on a channel called Jubilee. And that's just my outlook on it. I don't believe in feminism. I believe that it's a very delusion-based ideology that women have clung to because it allows them to live and sit in the delusion that they've created for their own lives. And it's very unfortunate that it's so popular. But, you know, I'm just hoping that we begin to open our eyes and let the delusion go and start accepting accountability in our lives and understanding that it's okay to just be a woman. Just the same way it's okay to just be a man. So I appreciate you for watching the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit that subscription bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Make sure you like, comment, and share. And I really wish you all the best. Shalom.